Alrighty.
If that's your winning face, I'd hate to see you lose.
We underestimated the Constant.
Nah, he's a glorified desk clerk.
He's not just after the money. He wants it all.
We caught him once, we can do it again. And, well, we're not the ones who let him escape.
You still don't trust her.
I don't like executive decision makers. Look, you don't have to follow her, you know? Soon, this will be over. Maybe it's time to think about the future. You have to face the possibility that there's no going back. If the ICA knows what you did...
She'll make it right. She always does.
We have a fix on Carlisle. Come on. We've got a plane to catch. I hope you like the rain, 47.
Miss Burnwood.
How did you...
I have everyone's number. You really ought to know by now.
You planned this? All of it?
Don't be silly. I just played the hand I was dealt.
We'll find you.
You had me. Where'd that get you?
We handed you an empire.
It's for the best. The partners were complacent, set in their ways. But power is more than just security. Providence can be an agent of change. Surely you understand. Or you will. Soon enough.
Thornbridge Manor, the Carlisle family's home for countless generations. The Revenant Alexa Carlisle and her 3 adult children, younger brother Zachary, grandson and daughter-in-law, are all gathered to conduct Carlisle's sham funeral. Curiously, Carlisle summoned a famous London PI soon after arriving this morning, but his purpose at Thornbridge is yet unclear. Now, the target knows that you're coming, and her guard detail is top-notch. So Mr. Grey will secure their nearby field HQ and intercept all calls going in and out of the estate. Any appeal for backup is going to fall on very deaf ears. Good luck, gentlemen.
Welcome to England. Having just been in Dubai, with all that new money on display, the gold and the flash, and the perhaps unpersonal, we move into the inherited wealth and the established upper class of the old. We are in a rural, ancestral mansion in England where a family gathering is taking place, and a tragedy just happened. This mission is about taking out the last target of Providence, Alexa Carlyle, and what better place to do it but here, in her very own home where it all started. This mission is about infiltrating the lair of the Lioness, getting close and knowing your target. It is the ultimate home invasion. We wanted the tone of the mission to evoke an ominous feeling and a sense of mystery. We wanted a mission that would tell very personal stories and unveil inner secrets. It should be a residence filled with surprises, and while playing it, the player should slowly unfold a story about the fall of a family empire, all the while seeing the vulnerable side of an Iron Lady. Of course, we did not miss the chance to add quirky family members and the special egos that you would expect in a place like this. In order to really drive home the sense of mystery, elevate the general mood, and to give a twist to the gameplay, we decided to add a whodunit in this mission. This would then also allow us to get close to the family as well as the target, showing Alexa's vulnerable sides. Perhaps also to be exploited to the player's benefit. It is very hard to miss that the event in this mission is centered around a murder mystery. Here, we ask the player to play the role of a private investigator to solve a very recent death, a suicide that our target suspect is foul play. At first, we played around with giving away the PI disguise already outside, almost for free, just to let almost everyone experience it from the get-go, as there is so much gameplay in it. But ultimately, we decided not to, as that would rob the player from infiltrating the mansion themselves, which is a very core Hitman and fun thing to do. Instead, we teased the murder mystery very heavily in the beginning to try and catch the player's interest. When I played the murder mystery for the first time, in a very early state, of course, I almost forgot that I was playing a Hitman game and was all in on solving the case. And that's what we hope that most players will do. The name of this mission is Death in the Family, and there is a lot of that in this mission. Alexa Carlyle is back from the dead. We have a suspect suicide of one of the house family members, and we have the death of an important character after. But there is more. There is someone in the mansion that is not done with the killing, and there's a legacy and history with the family that the players can learn about. The story is quite complex, and we suspect and hope that it will take our players quite a few sessions to figure out how everything connects. The same as mastering the gameplay and the level design.
A great tragedy has fallen upon us, and I need a quick resolution, handled with absolute discretion.
Results and discretion are my speciality.
Very well. I suppose you will want to start at the crime scene.
In my experience, a thorough examination of a potential crime scene is half the job done.
Good. Fernsby will take over from here.
I am Mr. Fernsby, the butler. Madame Carlyle has asked me to assist you in any way possible. Mr. Whitmer, I understand that you've traveled from London. Would you care for some refreshments? Or do you prefer to go straight to Mr. Zachary's sleeping quarters?
I prefer to get started.
As you wish. If you'll follow me, sir.
Gotta keep that windscreen clean.
Is scheduled to take place tomorrow. Madam's children were not informed until this morning that their mother was in fact not dead at all. So please bear with them.
Just
they
keep
seem
calm.
affected by the rather unusual situation. I trust I do not need to remind you that there will be consequences if word gets out that Madame Carlyle is still alive.
I'll consider her dead when I leave.
Before you inspect the crime scene, I will tell you this. The case concerns the death of Mr. Zachary, Madame Carlyle's younger brother. He was found dead in his bed this morning. The door was locked from the inside, and a suicide letter was found in his room. However, Madame Carlyle suspects foul play and will not accept that he took his own life. I've prepared some information for you, so please do come and see me when you've finished your investigation of the crime scene. This is Mr. Zachary's room, to my right.
A locked room, Murder Mystery 47. I trust you'll get to the bottom of this. Why don't you use your camera to scan the dead body, 47?
Throat markings indicate a rare, short-lived plant poison killed him. Spread shows time of death. At around 10 o'clock last night.
You do know your poisons, 47. Zachary was shopping for new Wellingtons last night. Not exactly what you would expect from someone suicidal. Zachary's suicide note. Also, a sample of handwriting. It could be relevant to compare to other samples to establish its authenticity.
A hidden door.
It's a secret passage. This could explain how the door was locked from the inside. A photocopy of the floor plans. Somebody's been researching the secret ins and outs of Thornbridge Manor. I believe you've done a... thorough search of the crime scene, 47. Maybe it's time to see the butler. I'm curious about the information he's prepared for you.
Yes, actually. Could you speed up time so I don't die from bored?
Mr. Fernsby, I'm done with the crime scene.
Did you establish a time of death?
Zachary died around 10 o'clock last night.
Well, that means the staff were off duty. And Madame Carlyle and her security didn't arrive until this morning. That leaves Madam's family and myself as the only persons here when he died. And before you ask, no, I do not have an alibi. I was alone in my office at the time of death. Here's the material that I prepared for you. It's a list of the possible suspects and their quarters. Hopefully that will help you keep track of your findings. Please come and see me when you've solved the case, and I will take you to Madame Carlyle.
Mr. Fernsby?
Mr. Whitmer, you have enough evidence to present your case for Madame Carlyle?
No, not yet.
Come and see me when you do.
So how does one solve a murder mystery, 47? Motive?
Alright, so she needs like little camera things that are going.
Means an opportunity, I believe. May I suggest you ask the suspects for alibis? Or perhaps do you prefer searching the manor for clues first?
Mary is so upset. She's never seen a dead body before.
Life can be tough sometimes.
And that detective asked to come here. Madam Carlyle.
Professor Edward Carlyle, can you tell me your whereabouts for last night?
Oh, yes, this dreadful business with Zachary. I stay at the local inn. You see, I prefer not to spend the night here at Thornbridge Manor. My brother Gregory came along for a nightcap. He'll never admit it, but I think he understands that I find this whole thing upsetting and wanted to provide some comfort. I believe we went to the Stag's Head around 8:30. Anything else I can do to help?
Can you tell me about Zachary's behavior last night?
I certainly didn't expect him to commit suicide. Sure, he was upset by Mother's supposed death. We were. But he seemed more engaged than usual. You should ask Rebecca. They had a long talk. Did you know that he hadn't left Thornbridge Manor in nearly 50 years? His plants, Mother, and the staff, all the company he had. If that's all, I have a speech to write.
Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary?
You mean apart from the fact that we came here to bury our mother and she shows up alive and kicking? Zachary found dead in his bed this morning? Or perhaps that the planned funeral is still taking place and I have to do the eulogy? And Mother will surely have strong opinion on it afterwards. I can't breathe. Excuse me.
That's all from him.
Emma Carlyle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Surely I'm not a suspect.
I need to account for everyone.
Well, I spent the evening with my family, but I got an awful migraine and had to take to bed. Everyone can attest to that. I believe I went up when the boys sat down for a drink around 8 o'clock. Anything else you want to know?
How did you feel about Zachary?
I might as well be honest. His presence was always awkward. But how do you have a meaningful conversation with a man who only cares about plants? In my opinion, Alexa bears some responsibility for how this ended. She supported his self-limiting behavior by letting him live here. Is that all?
Have you noticed anything else out of the ordinary?
Nothing special comes to mind. Except, perhaps, I did get a feeling that Zachary was depressed, not just sad. I suppose he realized that he had no one with Alexa gone. Even Alexa must feel the pangs of guilt over that one, letting him believe she was dead. Then again, guilt isn't her strong suit.
Gregory Carlyle, can you tell me where you were yesterday evening?
Oh, you're wondering about my alibi, Mr. Detective. Well, I left Thornbridge around 8:30 for a pint with Edward. I wish I hadn't. Quiz night at the inn. On the other hand, staying here with Zachary, my obnoxious sister, and the wife sporting another one of her headaches would have been a fate worse than death. The short of it, Zachary was very much alive when we left. I stayed for the last shout, and I was back here just before midnight. Is that all? Not very...
Tell me about Zachary.
Zach? Huh. Such a sad old sod. A bit heavy on the bottle, but who could blame him? Only company he had was his rare plants and mother, who travels more than she stays here. Honestly, I can't say which is the bigger bore. He's better off dead. Anything else you want to pry from my...
Anything else you'd like to tell me?
Nothing, really. I'm just enjoying the show. Our perfect mother obviously fucked up, didn't she? Faking her own death. You know, she's explained nothing to us. I think she's scared to own up to her own mistake.
Rebecca Carlyle, can you tell me about yesterday evening?
We don't really see much of each other, my brothers and I. I suppose it takes our mother's funeral to bring us together, and even then, it's not like we sit on each other's laps. Now, let's see. Patrick, Gregory's son, disappeared straight after dinner. You know, I think he might be in some sort of trouble. Edward wanted to go as well, but Gregory convinced him to stay for a few drinks before they went off for a pint at the local at 9:15. I swear Gregory enjoys Edward's discomfort over staying here. I had a conference call with my New York office at 9, so I spent 3 hours on my laptop in my room and went straight to bed afterwards. I don't know about Emma. She did act a bit strange. You know, I bet she was making lists for changes needing to be done once she gets her hands on Thornbridge Manor. Quite the shock she had when Mother arrived during breakfast. Is that everything, Mr. Whitmer? I do have a...
Tell me about Zachary. Did he act strange last night?
You know, now you mention it, he was a lot more chatty than usual. He wanted to know about my connections in the publishing business. Apparently, a friend of his is writing a book, which strikes me as very peculiar. I didn't think he had any friends. Is there anything...
Anything else you feel like mentioning?
I may be wrong, but I saw Mr. Fernsby, the butler, leave Zachary's room early this afternoon. And he seemed a bit startled when he saw me in the hallway. It's probably nothing. Oh, and one more thing. Please be kind to Edward. He can only take so much. Is that everything, Mr. Whitmer? I do have a lot to see to.
I go to the greenhouse now. Click over here.
Bad news, I'm afraid. We don't have any extra fuses. Ethel looked everywhere.
I just screwed this turned dark like that.
This is a table showing lethal dosages for the poison used to kill. Zachary.
Something is circled 47. Female, age 65 to 79, 60 to 64 kilograms.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
I'd say Madame Carlyle is next in line for a poisoning.
I'm still level 0, I'm still level 1.
Did you call Mother?
Wait, did I check everybody? I didn't check them.
About a month now.
You're American. What on earth are you doing in this shithole? A girl like you belongs in clubs. Let's pick this up later.
How's everything
Patrick
coming along,
Carlyle.
Elaine?
Very well,
Can you
Mr.
tell me
Fernsby.
where you
Make
were
sure you
yesterday
focus on your
evening?
work.
I will.
I don't need one more
It's that
maid
sneaky
crying in the
butler,
kitchen.
isn't it? He
So watch
ratted me
yourself
out.
around young Mr. Patrick.
Elaine,
Don't worry about me.
give us some privacy, would you? Don't tell Mother, okay? She's really tense these days, and the last thing I need is more hassle. I took that pretty blonde, Rosie, for an evening stroll. I mean, how the fuck am I expected to cope for an entire weekend in this shithole? I'm bored out of my mind. So, is that it? Yo, Anne, what's up? Relax, man. I said I'd get you money. It's just gonna take a little longer. Jeez, and how's that my fault? Calm the fuck down, Ant. You know I'm good for it. I'm a Carlyle. I'm made of money. Just lean back and enjoy the interest. Meanwhile, go and have some drinks on me. No, Christ, I'm gonna hang up. Let's talk when you calm the fuck down.
What did you think of Zachary?
Creepy as hell. No ambition. Imagine deciding to live in a museum. You know, Father says Zachary and Alexia used to be two of a kind. He had a great future ahead of him. Then suddenly, he just gave up everything. What an idiot. Thank God Daddy chose looks and brains over pedigree when he married Mummy. I don't have to worry about the inbreeding so customary in these circles. If that's all, I think I'll get back to my slow death by boredom.
Did you see anything suspicious last night?
No. I reckon Zachary topped himself. I know I would. Or perhaps Mr. Fernsby. I don't like him. He could have done it.
May I get you anything, Mr. Patrick?
Sorry, man, but you're just making me feel a little uncomfortable now. Okay? Privacy? Why are you all up in my face, mister? Please, behave.
That door leads to Emma and Gregory's room. Now this is interesting, 47. A letter from Emma's mother stating that Emma is the illegitimate child of Alexa's late older brother, Montgomery. And listen to this. She claims to have witnessed Alexa and Zachary murder him. The plot thickens. A keychain pendant for the greenhouse. What's that doing in Emma and Gregory's room, I wonder? And why is the key missing?
I should get back to...
An old letter, 47. Never opened. Must have slid under the secret door nearly 46 years ago. It states that Alexa Carlisle's older brother, Montgomery, wanted Alexa to become the heir to the Carlisle Empire instead of himself. Interesting.
Maybe we should get back to... Yeah.
You're an excellent detective, 47. Uncovering truths half a century old. If you frame it correctly, I believe you could use the information to convince Madame Carlisle that Zachary committed suicide. Maybe you should ask Mr. Fernsby to see her. That is the door to Rebecca's room. Or perhaps you feel like digging a bit more.
Why do everyone got secret doors? Like, people are just so secretive. You have a timing on it.
I can see from the log that Rebecca was in a conference call from 9 p.m. to midnight last night.
Where's the butler, Doug?
I'm ready to present my conclusion to Madame Carlisle.
Very well. If you'll follow me, sir.
This doesn't feel like Hitman. It feels like Detective Simulator 2023.
Leave that here. Need to take it with you. Hi there.
This is Madame Carlisle's office. Please step inside.
So, Mr. Whitmer, you've reached a conclusion. Take a seat. Please, go ahead.
Your brother committed suicide.
I need to see some evidence to believe that, Mr. Whitmer.
Zachary was found dead in a room locked from the inside. He died from a rare poisonous plant he cultivated himself. He believed you were dead, and a suicide note explained that he did not have the courage to go on without you.
That's what I don't buy. I cared for him deeply, but the truth is he hated my guts. My death would not make him commit suicide, I can promise you that.
Perhaps the death of your older brother, Montgomery, then. I have found evidence showing that you and Zachary killed him nearly 50 years ago. I believe that was when Zachary turned recluse. Your brother recently uncovered proof that your past deeds were for nothing. A letter from Montgomery stating that he wanted you, Madame Carlyle, to take over from your father instead of himself, as you were better suited to the job. Everything would have turned out the way you wanted, without anyone dying. What broke Zachary once, now destroyed him.
And you saw this letter?
I did.
Oh, Zachary. How royally I fucked up. Mr. Whitmer, I'm sorry, I just need to gather my thoughts. Right. The payment for your services, have you decided on an amount?
Arthur Edwards. You have a file on him.
Arthur Edwards. How do you... I see. Well played. For many, many years I feared what I'd see when I finally met death. And now you sit before me, and I feel only peace. You see, I believe life is a fair fight, and I lost spectacularly in every way imaginable. It is... time. Please remain seated, Mr. Whitman. Thank you. Now, where were we? Arthur Edwards. How do you... I see. Well played. For many, many years I feared what I'd see when I finally met death. And now you sit before me, and I feel only peace. You see, I believe life is a fair fight, and I lost spectacularly in every way imaginable. It is time for me to leave the pit. Oh, before I get to that, your reward. The file you want is in the safe.
How are you, sir?
A last wish from a dying woman. A last wish from a dying woman.
Good work, 47. That's the file on Arthur Edwards secured. Time to take care of Madame Carlyle.
Suffer. So long. I need some privacy. Thank you.
I need some privacy. Gather up your thoughts. Gather up your thoughts.
Ah. Mission complete. Well done, 47.
What just happened to Diana? Oh, she was gonna kill herself anyway, so I want to use my shotgun for some reason, you know. Alrighty, this is it. Gotta walk over here. 30 minutes and 53 seconds. Took me that long, that's crazy. Is there like dead people here? Yeah.
47.
They're everywhere. Go, get out! It's the Constantine! Shit!
What? Alright, that's it.